Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey. So, pen mail video on day 375 of the lockdown, or at least it seems like that, and certainly after the longest January in the history of the world. This year is kind of flying by and also dragging itself through the dirt, taking forever. So, I'm going to talk today about what I've been doing. I've unwrapped these pens because, quite honestly, some of them I know needed cleaning. Certainly one of them, I had a look because I suspected the seller from eBay has sold me a rather manky pen, and yes, it clearly hadn't. He'd not even bothered cleaning it or anything. He just anyway. So cleaning was necessary, and these things. Now I got these ages ago. Now these are all Noodler's Ahabs, and I know that the Noodler's Ahab has a love-hate thing. It's a cheap flex nib fountain pen. It's affordable. It comes in a whole range of colours, as you can see, but a lot of people hate it because it doesn't write very well. Now, I will put a link to my how to get your Noodler's Ahab fountain pen writing again. I will put that link down in the description below, so expand that and have a look down there. Because I think these pens are very much overlooked. Because they were released, didn't write, people went, these things are awful, don't ever buy an Ahab. And okay, it's not a vintage flex nib, it's not that sort of soft, but these still have flexible nibs. And if you do clean them out and tune them up, these are really, really affordable flex nib fountain pens, which are available in a range of colours, as you can see. Now, I've been cleaning these things up, as you can see. I mean, I've got the converters in there and the various things. These are all washed thoroughly in hot soapy water. I've repositioned the nibs in all of the pens and heat set the feeds, which is now my standard practice, and whenever I do that, these pens write. So I mean, basically I'll just get a big tub of hot soapy water, dish washing up liquid, that type of dish soap, big tub of that, stick the nibs, the feeds and everything in there, because they're covered in manufacturing oils, and you need to get rid of that because you get no end of ink flow troubles. Flushing these pens will not clean them, so you need to get the things apart, take the nibs out, take the feeds out, give them a good old scrub and rub in using a sponge, basically, to get all the oil off. Leave them to dry, and once you've set up the pens, i.e. push the nib and the feed back in the right orientation, I must add, and then heat set them, I have never ever had a problem with any of these pens since. So that's what I've been doing all morning with these, and some other cleaning and some other pen stuff as well. So busy old morning. So a whole bunch of Noodler's Ahabs. This was one of my old ones that had gone through the usual Ahab thing. I had left the converter in there, and the whole thing had basically leaked out into the barrel of the pen, and it was a right old mess. So yeah, that was this morning's messy job. So there, those pens out of the way. Now, what else arrived? Now, I'm going to talk about some pens. Talk about this thing first. Cavaco All Sport brushed. What is it? It's not brushed. Stonewashed. Cavaco All Sport Stonewashed Black. Seller on eBay had one of these, really, really cheap price. Thought, well, see if I can manage to snaffle it, and I did. So I was really, really happy with that, because I haven't had a Cavaco Sport All Sport pen. This has got a fine nib, and I actually really, really like this distressed. I mean, it is a distressed, used look that the pen has. The stonewashed effect is really, really good. So I mean, it's one of these pens that, quite honestly, it's tough, and even if it gets beaten up, it's actually probably going to look quite a little bit better. So yeah, really happy with this. This is the pen that needed a bit of a clean. I have also tweaked the nib. I mean, the nib in my view, wasn't very wet. It's a fine nib, but it was a little bit on the dry side. And also it was a little tiny bit scratchy, or at least there was a little bit of feedback. I think some people would have thought it was feedback, but to my mind it was scratchy. So I've now done some work on this, and it is lovely and smooth. And yeah, it works perfectly well. I've put a fairly palish green ink in this. This is Beaufort Ink Scots Pine, which is a really nice green colour, and I actually really do like this ink very much. It's a cartridge that I've just popped into this, standard international cartridge, so I'm very happy with that. I shall be enjoying using that. Which pen to show you next? Go with this one. Stay on the theme of all metal pens. Another second-hand pen. What is it? It's the Nami Sue Nova in copper. Now this was an absolute bargain that I found through one of the Facebook groups. It's got a fine nib, not my personal choice, but you can swap the nibs out. And as you can see, I love copper. I love copper fountain pens. I'll show you my... If you haven't seen it before, if you're a subscriber, you will have seen this thing before. This is my everyday carry pen mug, copper pen mug that I keep all my home pens in, so I can write with a selection of those. So the Nami Sue Nova. Now Nami Sue is a UK, I think they're based in Scotland actually, UK pen manufacturer. They turn their own pens, design their own pens, turn them themselves. And they always seem to release their pens on Kickstarter. They do have a website, I can't remember the name of the website, but I've cleaned out this pen and I shall just write down the name for you. So, there you go, Namisu. That's what they're called. It sounds Japanese, looks Japanese, but it isn't. They are based in the UK, and this pen is really heavy, and that was the reason the seller wanted rid of it, because it was just way too heavy. And this is a very heavy pen, all metal. I believe it's brass. I don't think it's actual copper. It could be. There's a potential. I'd need to do more research onto this anyway. But this is a very heavy clipless design. As you can see, I mean, it's second hand. It's forming a patina on the copper surface already, which is great. I really like that. I mean, some people would polish it off, but I like this sort of look. I think it's really good. So this is a really nice pen. Now this was released on Kickstarter from Namisu a few years back, but it is available to buy on their website, which is good. So if you're into really big, well, really heavy pens, I mean, it's not the longest pen, and I don't think it's I mean, it does post, to be honest. That's really weighty. It's a good sized pen, nice thick section as well, and it's, yeah, really attractive. There is a brass version, more on that in another video. There is a brass version and a titanium or steel version available, so if you're not into copper, other colours are available, all metal. And we'll get on to the third pen of the day. Now, I'm just going to explain something. This third pen, this next pen, isn't available. So it's one of these things, it was available, then it wasn't, then it became available. And the reason for this being is that there is a guy in the UK on the UK Facebook fountain pens page. I think it's on Facebook, it's something like UK fountain pens. And this guy, I'm not going to give you his name because I don't want to breach any data protection or embarrass this guy or anything like that. I'll just refer to him as John G. And he turns his own pens. And I know a lot of people turn their own pens, and there's some great pen turners out there. But this guy managed to get hold of some really, really lovely resin. Beautiful, beautiful resin, and made a number of these pens before Christmas. And they were snapped up like that. I mean, they went onto the Facebook group, and he said, right, first come, first served, get on and buy them. Excuse my dog barking in the background. And he made these pens, and I sent him a message, and I said, oh, have you got any available? And he said, no, they all went within 5 minutes. But I do have some of the material left, and I am going to turn some more pens out of this material. Which he did, and because I'd already messaged him, he said, I'll let you know when they're being released so that you can go onto the Facebook group and say, yes, I'd like one of these pens, which I did, and I am really, really happy with it. It's quite a small pen. I mean, obviously there is no name to it, but this is, I mean, it didn't cost very much money considering that this guy handmade it, and he said, all I'm basically doing is charging for the materials. And what beautiful materials these are. I mean, this acrylic, it's under the camera, it's turning out a lot bluer. It's actually more of an aquamarine colour. But this is a really lovely chatoyant, I think it's an acrylic. It feels like an acrylic rather than a resin. And it is gorgeous. And I must admit, for a hand-turned fountain pen, this guy has got a good design. He does put a lot of disclaimers in there saying, you know, if you're not happy with it, you can return it. And it is a small pen, and it is a light pen. If I pop it next to the Cavaco All Sport, I mean, it's about an inch longer. Let's see, we've got a Twisby Eco T here. Give you a bit more of a representative sample size. So I mean, it's about a centimetre shorter than that capped. So this is not a massive pen. I will do a full review of all of these pens in due course, but this material is absolutely gorgeous, and John allowed me to choose the nib. You can pick a nib, which he then sources and takes payment once he's received those. The clip is really quite nice. I must admit, it's a little bit on the soft side, but a nice long section of the same beautiful acrylic material. And as you can see, I've got a steel, I believe I ordered a, let me just have a quick check of this because I'm probably going to get this wrong. Is this a Bock or a Schmidt? It's a Bock nib. So that is a nice, I think I've got a medium nib with this pen. Really, really nice pen. Nice long section, which actually produces enough length of the pen to be used without being posted. And these pens don't post. So, you know, it's one of those things. If the pen isn't long enough, then you're stuck with it. And they are standard international cartridge converters. And, of course, you can eyedropper these as well. So, I've already inked this up. So, let's just have a quick look at how this writes. Now this ink is not the most saturated ink. It's Jeoban Diavolo Menthe, or Menth, however you pronounce it. And yeah, nice writing experience. Very good, smooth nib, and a beautiful pen. So let me know in your comments down below what you think of today's pen video and how you're getting on in this current situation, because I know it's affecting a lot of people. I am talking to people on the phone, and they're all sort of bemoaning the situation and basically saying what a terrible thing it all is, and yet other people are just quite happily getting on with their lives and yeah, basically remaining positive, which I recommend you guys do. We've got pens. You don't need to be negative when you got pens. Life is good. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.